Welcome to another edition of the Inspired Stories podcast, where leaders share their experiences so we can learn from their successes and be inspired by how they've overcome adversity. My name is Anthony Codispoti, and today's guest is Danilo Di Nardo. He is the Vice President of Operations at Lombardi Family Concepts. They are a 49-year-old family-owned restaurant group known for award-winning cuisine and a family-oriented atmosphere. Their mission is to create warm, welcoming dining experiences that make every guest feel like part of the Lombardi family. They have been recognized by Wine Spectator for 6 years, showcasing an exceptional global wine program. Danilo joined Lombardi Family Concepts in December of 2019, bringing diverse experience in restaurant and hospitality management. He previously served as Director of Operations and Regional Director of Hospitality at Sommelier at Hardwood International. His leadership has helped shape new initiatives and drive operational excellence across the company's multiple locations. Under his guidance, the team continues to refine menus, enhance service, and maintain a family-oriented atmosphere across all venues. Now, before we get into all that good stuff, today's episode is brought to you by my company, Add Back Benefits Agency, where we offer very specific and unique employee benefits that are both great for your team and fiscally optimized for your bottom line. Imagine being able to give your employees free access to doctors, therapists, and prescription medications. And here's the fun part. The program actually puts more money in your employees' pockets and the company's too. One recent client was able to increase net profits by $900 per employee per year. Now, results vary for each company, and some organizations may not be eligible. To find out if your company qualifies, contact us today at addbackbenefits.com. All right, back to our guest today, VP of Ops at Lombardi Family Concepts, Danilo Di Nardo. I appreciate you making the time to share your story today.
Pleasure to be here, Anthony. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's get into it. You started working in the restaurant industry at 13. As I understand it, to buy an expensive pair of jeans after your dad challenged you. Can you tell me more about that?
That is absolutely correct. Yes. I'm born and raised in Italy, and obviously lived with mom and dad, as it should be, when I was 13. And there was a specific brand of jeans and fashion at the time that was becoming very popular, and I wanted that pair of jeans for Christmas. And so, I had mentioned it to my parents, and obviously Christmas came around and the pair of jeans did not show up. And I guess I was a little bit upset about it. And my dad sat me down and, told me, son, until you live under this roof, we are going to provide the best that we can for you. And we're going to get you clothes that we think are appropriate for your age and yada, yada, yada. All right. So I listened to it, but the pair of jeans did not go anywhere. I still had it in my mind. So at that point, summer approached, and I was looking to get a job. I was looking to make some money so I could earn my pair of jeans. And my dad told me, when you enter the workforce, you're going to be able to earn for yourself. You can afford everything you want. But until then, you live under my roof. Those are the rules. So I did, found a job.
At the age of 13, was that unusual
13.
At the time?
I think back in the days, probably one or two generations before mine, I think it was actually very common. But I was born in 1983, and my age was not that common. But my parents had this membership at this beach club on the coast of southern Italy, in Puglia, where I'm from. So I started making phone calls here and there, and the owner of the club said, yes, I have a spot for you. I need somebody that makes coffee. That job is called barista, And I said, yeah, of course, I'll be there when we start. So then I went back to my dad and I said, hey, I think I found a job. I think I found a summer job. I want to start working. My dad went furious. He's like, there is no way. You're 13 years old. There is no chance you're going to start working. I said, okay. Well, at that point, Anthony, in the middle of the night, one night, I took €100 out of his wallet.
Uh-oh.
And I left home in the middle of the night, slept on top of my roof building that night, got two buses and a train, did not eat for probably good 48 hours, and I made it to point of destination. And I got to the job, I presented myself, they told me what I was going to do and this and that. And as I said, my parents were member at this club. We had a beach house there. And so in my head, I'm like, hey, I'm going to have no problem when I work there. I'm going to go sleep in my own home. Come to find out, I arrived to my house. Everything is locked. I obviously don't have keys. I was hoping to find a window that I could crack to get in and sleep. Instead, I couldn't. And I slept on the terrace. By day two, my parents obviously were going crazy looking for me. The lady that owned the club figured it out that something was wrong by me probably wearing the same set of clothes 2 days in a row. And she made a call to my parents. And my parents came over and figured it out what was in my head and what I was doing. However, I did keep that job. I worked the entire summer making coffee. And I eventually went back for the second season at 14 and I did other different style with the same club as far as animation and get people involved to do dances and group activities and stuff like that. So that was my first job. I never stopped working after that.
So your plan was, I'm going to sneak out of the house early every morning to get to this job and then sneak back into the house at the end of the day. My parents will
Correct.
just think I'm off goofing around with my friends. They won't miss me. They won't know anything's up. This was sort of the plan.
Right. No, but I was in a totally different city. So my hometown is about 30 minutes away from the beach
So you
town.
weren't going to be coming back and forth every night.
No, I was set.
So
That's
where were
it.
you
This is
going to
what I'm
sleep
doing.
there? Where were you sleeping
At,
when you were working at the beach club?
at the beach house.
Okay. Oh, your family's beach house there. Got
Right,
it.
right, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Now
yeah,
I'm up to speed. I missed that part.
yeah.
Okay. So you were sleeping on the terrace at the beach house where you
Correct.
thought you could find a way in. You could. Okay. Got it.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly. Yeah.
how long before you actually got the jeans then?
I did end up buying the gym that summer,
Yeah.
and I still have them.
And you still have them. What's the
I still
brand?
have it. They're Dolce Gabbana.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have it in my closet. They're dark gray, and my wife today asked me, "Can we throw these things away?" I'm like, "No. It is a symbol of
It's a
something. It
symbol. I mean,
means something."
like for a lot of business owners, they'll frame like the first dollar that they made. I feel
Yeah,
like for you,
yeah.
like this is kind of, this is like your starting point, right? Like it should
It
be in a
was the
frame somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, it was the original push. It
Okay.
was the
And so you've been
motivation.
working ever since. So how did your dad get on board with this then?
Well, at that point, I just took control myself. I said, "This is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do it." And he had to put up with it. And I always loved working. I loved the environment. I always loved F&B. As you understand, I've been doing that since I was 13. I'm 41 years old now. I went back to that club, 2 summer jobs, 2 summers. And then after that, I went back to my hometown after the second season and I started working fully in kitchens in a pizzeria that was right by my house. And I was going to school in the morning and working at night. And, to be honest with you, I come from, a good family that provided very well, but I just had the need for more, I guess. And, I was going with my bicycle after school every day. My first job in this pizzeria was assistant pizza maker.
The
Uh,
assistant
I, I,
pizza maker.
assistant, yeah. I was basically cutting the vegetables and getting everything done for the prep for the pizza lady at the time. I
Okay.
wasn't allowed to stretch the dough. I wasn't allowed to put the sauce. I wasn't allowed to do anything, just prep work.
You had to pay your dues. You had to work your way up.
100%. 100%.
Okay. So you continued to work in food and beverage while you're in Italy, right? And then
Yes,
in 2003, you had an opportunity to come to the States. How did that
correct.
unfold?
That actually has a little bit of a longer story. So my parents have lived in the United States 70s and 80s. The reason how we got there is because during World War One, one of my aunt got married with a U.S. citizen that was a national army based in Italy. The my aunt was the first out of seven, and my father is the last of them. So she moved to United States, I believe it was 1945 or 1946. And then little by little, she started recalling all brothers and sisters to come and join her in Los Angeles. Eventually, my dad in 1976 came to United States, went to UCLA, and started having a life in California. Went back home for vacation a couple years later and married my mother and took my mother with him back to California. In 1982, because of some family issue, my grandpa passed away and so on. My dad decided to move back with my mother, and I was born in 1983. So, if you ask my mother and my dad, they'll tell you that the idea of having me was actually in the States. But I was born in Italy, and then they stayed there until, I think my dad came back to the States in the year 2000.
Okay.
And then I finished school, and I came here in 2003 for a vacation because my dad really wanted me to see United States.
And he was in
And
California at the time?
no. He came back in 2000 just for a visit.
Okay.
And then he went back, to
Okay.
Italy, life as normal. And then 2003, as I said, vacation with my dad to United States. He wanted to show me U.S. and where the family did this and did that and yada yada yada. And I arrived in Miami in 2003, legally, likely, because my parents were able to obtain citizenship while they were here in the 70s and 80s. And I had an open ticket for about 3 months to then come back to Italy. And about 30 days later, I said to my dad, I said, I'm not going back. This is beautiful. And we landed in Miami.
Okay.
So you can only imagine. I'm at this time, I'm like 20 and a half, almost 21. I land in Miami, the beach, the people, the colors, totally different than Southern Italy. So fascinating. And that's it. I decided to stay. I think my mother cried for like a month and a half straight. Thought she was gonna lose a son. But yeah, here we are today. 21 years later, 22 almost. Here I
So
am.
you came in 2003. How was your English at that point?
Terrible,
Oh. And so how did you
terrible.
make a way for yourself?
I actually I gotta be honest with you. The first 3 months were rough,
Yeah.
and I'm saying rough to the level that you're crying yourself at night asleep. Because I knew hi, I knew bye, I knew thank you, a little bit of that English that you study in school, but there was nothing conversational. I couldn't understand anybody. I was watching a TV that I didn't understand. I was listening to music that I didn't understand. I couldn't really communicate with anybody. So it was really, really hard. Luckily, my dad had some connection. And there was a friend of the family that owned a restaurant in Boca Raton, Florida.
That was the name of the restaurant.
No, the name of the restaurant was Arturo's Restaurant
Okay.
in
In
Boca
Boca
Raton,
Raton.
Florida. Yeah, yeah. And so my dad went and talked to his friend, and they hired me as a help, whatever I could do, bus table, help out with the kitchen a little bit, wash dishes, whatever was doable. And they were very, very kind. Arturo and Rosaria Gismondi, which actually had a restaurant in New York as well in the early 80s. They took me in and they showed me a little bit the ropes on how to make the hospitality work in the United States. Because for me, it was completely different. Even though I'd worked at this point in Italy, I've done pizza guy, salad guy, I've done deliveries, I've been a server. But you come to United States, obviously, not having the language, it's very challenging to do that. So you have to start from the bottom, which I did. I enjoyed it. Very beautiful group of people. I paid my dues there too, and I kept going.
And you said that you found hospitality in the States was totally different from Italy. How so?
Well, the places that I worked in Italy were very different. I worked at the same pizzeria that I was telling you about for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years, actually, a little bit more. But I was a local pizzeria in a neighborhood. There wasn't really a level of service or standards. There was more, you come in, you order your food, somebody's bringing it to you, you eating it, and that's it. When I moved to the States, especially the caliber of restaurant that hired me, Arturo's, we're talking about old school tuxedo table service with Capitan back waiters, expensive wine list, a dessert cart being rolled around the room to cut fresh slices for people, smoked salmon cut at the table. Service was incredibly different for me. I've never
Was it
served a
more of a
table in it.
presentation, more of a show?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And the way people spoke about wine and food, the description, everything that was made happen, the style of service too, from how to open a bottle of table, how to crumb a table, how to carry 6 to 8 dishes on a tray with a cloche. I mean, all those things I wasn't really exposed at, so I had to learn everything from scratch.
And how were you advancing your English skills during this time?
Communication with people, talking to people, constantly making mistakes and not being afraid of making mistakes.
Mm.
And some people tell you, hey, this is wrong the way you say it. You should say it this way. One time, two times, three times. Eventually, you keep hearing it. You adjust yourself. Um, and it takes time. It took time.
Yeah.
But
And I want to pause for a moment and kind of draw a spotlight to, how challenging this had to have been, right? You're a young kid. I mean, 20, 21, early 20s, and you're in a new place that you're excited about, right? Lots of good looking people, lots of energy, music, the colors, it's fun, but you don't know anybody and you don't know the language. And that's scary. Like not
yeah,
being able to interact with people and have conversations, like you had to have felt really isolated.
yeah. Well, truth to be told, I had a sister of my father lived in Boca Raton. So I was close to her, and she was, a little bit of a support system at the beginning. So at least I could go home to somebody that I knew, right? And that was good. But still, as I said, the first 3 months extremely rough, even by knowing and having an aunt, which, by the way, was the first time I ever met her at that point.
Okay.
Uh, Even by having a hand was challenging. I mean, she had her own life and her own
Yeah.
job, and but at least was somebody that I could go home and I had like that comfort zone, right? But outside of that, was incredibly hard.
How long before you
And
felt like you were kind of standing on your own 2 feet and you're like, okay, I got this now?
well, I'm a little bit crazy.
I'm
Uh,
getting that.
I,
I mean, you hopped on a bus for 48 hours to run away from home so you could go work as a barista. Yeah, I'm picking up on it, Danilo.
so I arrived in the States in March. In August, I'm walking down the street in my aunt's neighborhood, and I saw a sign, house for sale. I have no money, Anthony. I have no money. I came in this country, I had 300 euro in my pocket, right? So I called my father. I said, Dad, I think I want to stay here. I found a house for sale. What do you think? Can you lend me some money to buy a house? So my dad thought about it a little bit, and maybe 2 weeks later, he hopped on a plane, came over here. We went to take a look at the house. He put the down payment on the house, and he
Wow.
told me, but you're paying for the mortgage. I
Okay.
said, no problem. I'll figure it out. So we spent a couple of weeks remodeling the house, painting, buying furniture, and everything else. And he got me all squared away, and off he went back to Italy.
Man, that's the beauty of family, huh? When you've got
A
that kind of
hundred percent.
support to help you get
Uh,
started. But, And that was a hand up, not a hand out. It got you started. And he's like, and then the mortgage is on you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, okay, so you had a rough first few months, but you were in it.
yeah.
You bought a house, and then opportunities kind of opened up for you down the road where you were able to study wine and work in some locations, including Miami, then New York, Dallas. What were some key lessons that you learned along the way that now, as you look back, kind of prepared you for your role at Lombardi?
Well, I found a lot of good people on my way.
Mm.
A lot of people that took me under their wing and really taught me a lot. A lot of mentors that really spent the time to try to make me understand what was the right way of learning this business, what were the right moves. And the love for wine came from the experience that I had at Arturo's in Boca Raton, simply because the owner, Vincenzo, was in love with wine. He also was a sommelier. He had a tremendous passion, and he kept like giving me books about wine, or I will go early to work in the afternoon, and he will there, and he will be having meetings with wine reps, and I was always fascinated. To the point that he came up to me one day. It's like, "Hey, would you like to learn how to bartend or do anything like that?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." So he actually paid for my bartending school. Um, and I went there. I think the course was like a month. I did that. I came back, and then he put me to work behind the bar. So I had started this opportunity of seeing all the aspect of the business. Worked in the kitchen, cleaning dishes, washing vegetables, bussing tables. Now I have an experience at the bar. And that little by little, I mean, I was in that venue for a couple of years. Eventually transitioned with a larger group, which was the Casa d'Angelo group from Angelo Elia in South Florida. I learned a ton from him, learned a ton from the team there, opening restaurant, managing restaurant at the front of the house at a different level. I got my first look into financials of the restaurant, operation in general. And then in New York was really what made my bones.
Okay. What happened
I
in New
am,
York?
well, I'm 24. I had an experience which we'll probably touch a little bit later if I have the opportunity. At 24, I got hired in Miami as a general manager. Um, I guess my personality was what they liked the best. But as far as knowing the business, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Zero. But as you come to understand the way I am, I'm like, I'm going to do it. No worries. I'm going to take this challenge on and see what's going on. And so I worked as general manager in Miami for a couple of years, and days was 26, 7, almost going into 2008. I don't know if you remember, but 2007 and 8, Miami was tragic when it comes down to the economical crush. The real estate market was terrible, and we ended up, losing the restaurant. Um, so that set me back. And because of a series of other things, I received a call from this guy from New York. His name is Louis Lazzinaro, another great mentor of mine. Louis owned a couple of restaurants, and he had his restaurant in Saratoga Springs. And he said to me, "Would you like to come and manage one of my places up here, upstate?" I said, "Why not?" So packed the car up. I told my parents I was going there for the summer. And I went to New York first time 2009. I did a season for them, for Louis, at the restaurant called Nova in Saratoga Springs. And then I came back down to Florida, and I did the winter season in Florida. And then Louis called me back again, and he said, "Hey, would you like to come and be full time here and become the general manager?" I said, "Absolutely." Packed up everything, moved to New York.
Okay.
Um,
Now, how did the opportunity at Lombardi come about?
the opportunity of Lombardi, we're skipping a few years ahead. We're talking my first experience in New York is 2009. I
Okay.
arrived in Texas in 2016. I got to Texas towards the beginning of 2016. I was hired by Gabrielle Barbier Mueller, which is the owner of Harwood International, which is a real estate company that was developing a hospitality branch. And
Okay.
so they called me and they wanted me to be here, part of their opening and open one of their concept, which was Dolce Riviera. I worked with them 4 years or so. And then one day, we'll never forget this one. Monday, I'm in the kitchen in my house, just chilling. It's my day off. My phone rings. I pick up the phone. Alberto Lombardi. It's okay. Answer the phone call. I said, Ciao, Mr. Alberto, how are you? And I have met Alberto one time at this point. And he says, What are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm home. I'm just chilling. What are you doing? He said, Nothing. I'm running around the restaurant. What are you doing tomorrow? You want to do lunch? I said, Sure. So I met him the following day for lunch, and he told me what he wanted. He was looking for somebody to join him and help him with some of the operations, some of the leadership. And I liked him. I liked the ideas. I liked the opportunity to put an imprint on what he was doing. And again, Lombardi Family Concept this year is 49 years, right? So joining an iconic restaurateur that has such a great history that will allow you to put some of your own credo within the organization was incredibly attractive to me. And I had an incredible feeling with Alberto from the beginning. I felt much more of a father and son type of relationship than anything else, and I decided to join. And that was November 19, and that's it. Here I am.
So I'm looking at your website, LombardiFamilyConcepts.com,
Hmm.
and I'm looking at the collection of brands.
Yeah,
And they're all the interiors here. They're all beautiful. I mean, they're amazing.
thank you.
They're all different from each other. Like from an efficiency standpoint, wouldn't it make more sense to, hey, we've got a concept, people like it, let's just copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
You're right. It'll be absolutely that much easier to do that, but we are not into easy stuff. And number two, I think that kills a lot of the creativity, which is what drives us the best. Both myself and Alberto, we travel a lot, and we spend our summers in Europe. We travel to Mexico, South America a lot, and we always come back to the traveling. See the way we look at vacation, the way I look at vacation. Sure, it's to relax, to enjoy, but there is a huge discovery part. We always make a point to go to places where I think I could learn, absorb, and see something different. Obviously, keeping an eye at hospitality. So the trip I always made like, which country am I going? Which are the best restaurant? Which are the best hotel? Where am I staying? Which Michelin star am I dining at? Which one is the most rustic, familiar food of the area? And then when you come back from these trips, you are so energized, you see things in a different light, and that gives you the opportunity and the wish of create. And that's where we come up with new concepts.
I just finished reading the book Unreasonable Hospitality. I'm going to
Oh,
guess,
one of my
yeah.
favorites.
And it really, helped somebody who's outside the industry really helped to open my eyes to the passion that people have about what you're just talking about, the creativity. Like, how can we take this and take it to another level? And how can we maybe take, an old concept and put a little bit of a new spin on it? And so that's what I think I hear you saying in terms of like, yeah, we could come up with one concept and copy paste, but man, there's no fun in that. Like,
No,
we've got the passion and the creativity to continue to create and make new ideas.
yeah. And I mean, if you look at our brands, we currently have 17 concepts, 20 restaurants, and we have three in construction and in the pipeline right now. You have brands like Taverna. Taverna is the most duplicated that we have. We have five. Then you have Toulouse. which we have 3. Then you have Penne Pomodoro, which we have 2. Lombardi Cucina Italiana, we have 2. Maison Chinois, we are actually opening our second one in Houston in about 40 days. And Marisol will be Q1 of next year, which will be our second one. So we do duplicate some brands. I believe there is a difference of level of restaurants and their duplications. A concept like Taverna, it's so genuine, rustic, familiar, a little bit of that, old school Italian feeling. That is a concept that you can duplicate in every corner of the city, right? In every neighborhood of the city, because it's a neighborhood restaurant. But then you have showpieces. Then you have grand restaurants, a little bit more on the fine dining side, like Lombardi Cucina Italiana or Marisol. Those are restaurants that you can do maybe one in each city because are more of a legacy piece than something that is for a neighborhood. So we really like to do both because again, we figured it out through the course of the year and through the experience of Mr. Lombardi that really what makes a restaurant successful is hospitality, genuinity, and service the community. And I think that that's what we do best. And being in the neighborhood will make sure that you make people happy, people that live around you, people that live life with you. They walk by in front of your restaurant every other day. You really become part of family. And that is, I think, the greatest opportunity that we have as we keep growing is to find those little niche.
So what locations can we find most of your restaurants in?
So the majority of our locations are in Dallas.
Okay.
Then we expand in North Dallas, which is a city called Plano, and then Frisco, which is far north Dallas. And just to give you an example or to make you understand the spaces, Frisco and Dallas are about 30 miles away.
Okay.
And our good chunk of restaurant is there. We have about 11. Then the second best market for us is Houston. We love that market. And as Mr. Lombardi says all the time, we love Houston. Everybody has an accent like us. It's very international. By the end of Q1 2026, we'll have 5 locations in Houston, Austin. Then we have a Taverna in Buckhead, Atlanta.
Okay.
And then we have one in Akumal, Mexico.
And when are you coming to Ohio? That's probably a little far outside
Ohio. Yeah, I heard it snows over there. I don't know.
It's true. It is true. I can't deny it. Let's talk about your wine program, your award-winning wine program. It's been recognized by Wine Spectator for 6 years. What led you to develop such a global? Go ahead. Yeah.
No. Sorry, finish. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. Well, tell us about it. I want to hear.
We just got another one, so we'll make it 7.
Okay.
Very excited about this one because it's a brand new restaurant, and it's hard to get a Wine Spectator award on your first year. So we were able to do that with Lombardi Cucina Italiana in Houston. Big achievement. Again, everything starts with passion, Anthony. The passion for wine, and I think it comes also with the culture. There are a lot of countries, Italy, because I can speak about it, where drinking wine is not about drinking. Drinking wine is more about experiencing it, tasting it, enjoying it with food, with company. Italy really doesn't have that mentality of going out and go to bar and get a couple of drinks. There's always something else that is involved with opening a bottle of wine. So that has a very big romance to me. So when I started drinking wine professionally, let's say, I put a big push on trying everything that I could put my hands on. I would go to grocery stores and smell the fruits, smell the greens. I had actually a little kit that you could put together the smells in order to get your nose trained to identify notes within the wine, within the glass of wine.
Are you a sommelier?
I am.
Okay.
And so when you start doing that, there's a totally different spectrum that opens up to you. Again, even with this adventure, I was extremely lucky to meet a gentleman named Greg Rivera. I met it at an Italian grocery store. He was giving free samples. And I stopped at the grocery store. I mean, he was there. I had a little sample of wine. I liked the wine. We chatted about wine for a little bit. He's like, "You have a really good palate. What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a server in a restaurant." He's like, "I have a wine distribution company. Would you like to work for me?" I said, "Sure." So I started working for Greg in the mornings as a wine representative. I was hitting the account with the little bag of wine, knocking on doors. "Hey, would you like to try my wines?" And then at nighttime, I was working in the restaurant. And then I developed from there. He was also an advanced sommelier with a quartermaster. So he guided me the right direction to do my first couple of tests with the quartermasters. And then I started writing my own wine lists when I moved to New York. And I worked under another good somm when I was in Florida, Koen Kursman. He taught me also a lot about wine. He was Belgium. He was from Belgium. Very, very smart guy. And then I arrived to New York. I became general manager of that restaurant I was telling you about, Nova. And I had the opportunity of writing my own wine list for the first time on my own.
And so, sorry to interrupt, Danilo, but I want to
No,
understand
no.
why the Wine Spectator Award is such a big honor, and why it's so difficult to get, especially in your
Okay.
first year.
Well, okay. So you're familiar with Michelin Star, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with that process. 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars. 3 stars, you're the top. Wine Spectator Award is basically the Michelin Star for wine lists.
Okay.
So usually on your first year, it's very hard to get the one glass recognition. Simply because when people open a restaurant, a lot of times don't have the funds to build and invest in such a great wine list, because obviously that is an investment with purchasing a wine cellar and an inventory, right? And so I think my second year in New York, I finally applied for a Wine Spectator Award because I think I built a good list with good vintages, a good representation of worldly wine, and then I got it. You can only imagine that was probably one of the happiest days of my life. And then obviously I applied every year. Every year I tweaked something on the wine list. I adjusted something. I kept improving. We kept investing and having a larger selection of wine. And I think I got it in New York all straight up my entire time I was there. And then when I arrived at Harwood in Dallas, which was my first experience in Dallas, I did exactly the same thing. And with one of the restaurants that I was running, which is Dolce Riviera at the time, we actually achieved the 2 glasses from Wine Spectator. And I think we were quoted as one of the best wine programs in Dallas at the time. Another very, very proud moment.
Let me ask something. Because I'm wondering if you sort of know like who has 2 or 3 glasses somewhere in the country. Why not just copy their wine list? They're like, oh, like those guys know what they're doing. They've picked like a lot of really good wines. Let's just do exactly what they're doing.
Well, to be honest with you, I actually never thought of that.
Okay.
That's a great idea, but no, I think a somm.
It takes some of the fun and the creativity out of it for you, doesn't it?
I think any somms really want to create a wine list to showcase their identity. And I can tell you there is some of my staff, even today, that will open a wine list, read through it, and they could probably tell you this is a Danilo's wine list.
Okay.
Because
what would they see? How are your fingerprints on it?
You fall in love with certain products. You fall in love with certain producer, and they become part of you. They become part of the representation of your wine program. And some of the producer, I'll tell you, they became my friends to the point that my daughters called them uncle and aunt. And so somebody flips through the list and they see, oh, this wine, that wine, this wine, this wine. And, oh, he did the list for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So
Um,
I'm sure people listening who are very much into wine, they kind of have their favorites. They know sort of the good labels. But maybe for the listeners who are like, I would like to try a nice bottle of wine that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, what might be some things you point them to?
if we are talking old world, specifically Italy, I will say that probably one of the best grape that's kind of in a middle range but showcasing incredibly is Etna Rosso. Etna Rosso is Nerello Mescalese, which is an indigenous grape that grows at the feet of the volcano and Mount Etna,
Okay.
Sicily. Very good wines. Either the red or the whites are very, very good. When it comes down to United States, I think we have a lot of different varietals that they're showcased very well at a good price point. Anything that is Paso Robles, Cabs, Syrah, I think Petit Syrah also. I think give a lot of opportunity to people not to break the bank, but really have some good quality wine, especially if they like some of that robust, you know, fruit forward type of wines.
Mm. In your role as vice president of operations, what's been your biggest challenge in maintaining the really high service standards that you guys have?
Maintaining the people,
Mm.
making sure that the staff is valued, making sure that the staff understands your long-term goal, take care of them, and make sure that they stay with you. You know, I think one of the main reasons why people go to restaurants today, as it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago, is that they get recognized. They get recognized and they get taken care of. I've seen in our industry the level and the quality of people is going down tremendously. Majority of the time because yesterday was seen as a career job. Today is no longer seen as a career job. Today I'm working in a restaurant because I'm going to college and I need to pay for my studies. And I go to college and I work in the restaurant 2, 3 years and that's it. There is no seeking for excellence. There is not wanting to better yourself in that industry because you know it's just temporary. Back in the days when I started, back in the days when Mr. Lombardi started, and any of these veterans, it was a career job. Their goal was to starting from a busser, becoming a waiter, becoming a manager, and possibly having the opportunity of becoming an owner down the road. Um, so maintaining my staff is one of the biggest challenge, but also one of the best rewards because it definitely allows us to give that exceptional level of hospitality that I think we deliver the majority of the times
Yeah.
in the restaurants.
So, what are some things that you found that have been helpful in recruiting new folks?
So, currently, as a company, Anthony, I have a specific philosophy. You know, I learned also from Mr. Lombardi a lot, of course. We have an array of people that have been working for us from 30 to 42 years. I actually think we have one bartender that has been with Mr. Lombardi for 44 years. His name is Fernando. And me, in my smaller time in hospitality, I have some of my directors, some of my servers, they have been with me since 2009 when I was in New York. And some of them were with me at Harvard. And when I moved over, they decided to follow me here. How do we achieve that? Well, we need to achieve that by making them a priority and let them know that you are there for them and that your growth equals their growth. You know, everybody a lot of times talks a lot of smack about Gen Z, about the new generation. They don't want to work. They don't have this. They don't have that. I think that is not accurate. I think that what the failing is the leadership. You can't talk to a Gen Z the same way you talk to my generation or your generation, generation previous. People are different. They see things differently. But I think if you get through it and you make them see the light at the end of the tunnel, you give them a path and a clear explanation of where you should go or how we should do it, or let me teach you how to do this and that. You're getting unbelievable results from the younger generation as well.
Where's the future of Lombardi heading?
Well, we were blessed to have an incredible growth in the past couple of years. We opened some incredible restaurants, very, very blessed. As I told you, we have about three in construction right now, some other developing and projects in the pipeline. Our goal is to keep growing. Um, Expanding out of state, it's something that we are evaluating, even though we do have two restaurants out of state. But we kind of focused right after COVID, we really focused in the state more than anything else. A little bit because restriction with traveling at the time, a little bit because, Texas was a little bit different as far as other states were opening up. Texas was faster. It gave us the opportunity to go back to work fairly quickly. So we wanted to focus there, and obviously we have a good name here. People know what we do, and we want to keep exploring some pockets of the state and keep growing. That for sure.
Danilo, I want to shift gears and talk about a serious challenge or two that you've overcome in your life. How'd you get through those? What did you learn?
So probably one of the toughest time that I had in life, when I was telling you before about my experience of opening that restaurant in Miami at 23, 24 years old. And I told you I took the job without really knowing what I was doing. However, I was in it. I was in it. I took the ship. I was the captain, and I kept moving forward. I don't think I had a day off for the first 6, 7 months. We kept the restaurant open for about 2.5 years. Unfortunately, the economical situation in Miami was what it was, and we lost everything, absolutely everything. I lost everything. And, the investors in the restaurant were made guys. They had their chunk. They had things to fall back to.
Wait, I want to clarify made guys, because that means one thing to people who watch movies, and maybe you meant it a different way.
Yeah, I mean, like they were older guys. They were, gentlemen that already were financially stable, right?
Not mafioso.
No,
Okay.
nothing like
Gotcha.
that.
Okay, please continue with your story. These were guys who were well established financially. They didn't like losing the money, but it was okay. Their lives went on. You, on the other hand, were just up and coming, and now you're flat broke.
That's it. I'm done. Anthony, I'm done. I have no money in my pocket. My car is getting repossessed. I'm getting evicted from my apartment. I had one thing to fall back, and that was that little house that I told you that I bought in Boca Raton, Florida in 2003. So I left downtown Miami because the restaurant that I'm talking about was in downtown Miami. Brickell to be exactly. I left Brickell with not a dime. I went back home, destroyed, lost everything. Felt completely broken. I felt my name was tarnished, even though I didn't really have that much of a name at the time. But it was a feeling, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I failed. I completely failed. I didn't listen to this person. I didn't listen to that person. They were right. I was wrong. And now I got to eat it. And so I went back to Boca Raton, Florida. And I went back serving tables. Fell back on what I knew. Again, no money to pay rent, no money to pay that mortgage that I promised my dad I was going to pay. And I had to work hard. I found a job in a sunglasses store in the morning. I was selling sunglasses, which is actually, that's a super funny story. I'm going to tell you about that.
Okay.
I'm walking in this store wanting to buy sunglasses, and the owner of the company was actually in the store. And I don't know if you know this. Have you ever heard about Solstice, the sunglasses store? Okay. The CFO, one part owner, was
Aren't they
there.
owned by like Luxottica or
Luxottica,
Cephalo
correct.
or
Yeah,
okay? Yeah,
yeah,
they're
yeah,
huge.
Luxottica,
Yeah.
yeah. Safilo. And anyway, so this guy's there. I don't know who he was. He doesn't know who I am. I'm just there. I'm speaking Italian, and I'm trying to buy these sunglasses. This guy is next to me. He turns around and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you from?" Blah 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 blah. He turns around to the manager and says, "Please make sure you give this guy a job." So within a couple of weeks, I kept bugging the manager of the store because I really needed a job,
Yeah.
and they hired me. So I was working in the sunglasses store in the morning. I had my server uniform in the car, and I was getting dressed in the car from the store to the restaurant. Uh, Went back serving, kept working, saved myself out of that or whatever I had at the time, and built back up. And then the New York call came about in 2009, and then I got to New York, and as I said to you before, that was a very formative experience because the owner of the restaurant lived downstate while the restaurant was upstate, and you know, I just had to figure it out, whatever it was, whether it was a plumbing issue, whether it was a kitchen issue, chef issue,
You were the
server
guy.
issue.
The buck stopped
That's
there.
it.
You had to figure it out. Yeah.
26 years old, figured it out, and that
So
was bad school.
I want to go back to sort of the beginning of this where that restaurant failed. Because, I mean, you used, I think, the appropriate terms, right? Devastating. You felt broken, right? You felt like you had failed. Um, and, there's a part of you that just wants to, I'm sure, just stick your head under the covers and be
Oof.
like, I just want to, I want to wake up from this nightmare. Um, but that's not what you did. I mean, you did a little bit of sort of like going back and licking your wounds, but it's like I went and found a job. I hustled to get this restaurant job. I hustled to get this second job at the sunglass store, so I could start paying my bills, so I could get out of debt. And you just, I mean, tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it was kind of a I don't know what's coming next, but I got to figure out how to put one foot in front of the other.
No, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And also there is an element of embarrassment. There is an element that really wants to disappear, but you can't because things keep coming towards you. They're not stopping. And I'm gonna be very honest with you. I think I went. I don't know if I did, but I think I went through maybe 3 to 4 months of very deep depression. And I think I pushed a lot of comfort on food, gained a ton of weight. And my mom flew over and spent a couple of months with me.
Wow.
And she was next to me and helping me out and kind of like trying to get out of it. And I just told this story 2 days ago to one of my staff. Um, I was in my patio one afternoon, and I'm just not crying, but very sad. And I kept saying to my mother, I said, I'm never going to be able to make it. Everything I'm trying to do, everything I try to achieve, everything that I put my foot on, it's going wrong. Uh, at the time, I also had a personal bad relationship that had a bad breakup as well, all at the same time, of course. And I was really down. I said to my mother, I said, "No way, this is not happening. I mean, I'm done. Nothing's coming my way. I don't know what I did, but nothing good will come out, and I'm just destined to be here and get stuck here." My mom got really upset. And for the first time in my life, I think somebody put me up to understanding the power of your self will, the power of being resilient, the power of being positive. And I think through that conversation with my mother, that's what she wanted me to take home was, hey, wake up. You need to be positive. You need to shake this off. And whatever it's going to take, you're going to have to do it. And that's it. And from that moment, I think a couple more months of kind of being okay. And then I got that call from New York, and I took that ball and I ran with it. And I said, I need a change. I need fresh air. I need new locations. I need to restart. And that was it. That was it. But Anthony, obviously, you understand, not easy, very challenging. Um, And the good support obviously helps because it puts you in the right mindset.
I think this is a really great story for our listeners because for people who haven't been through it before, when you lose a business, and this is going to sound melodramatic if you haven't walked in these footsteps before, but it feels like a death. Like
Sure.
it feels like somebody very close to you has died because it's an inanimate thing, right? But you've put so much time and energy and pride, and there are people who lost money. And so it feels like a part of you now is missing.
Yeah.
So I want to highlight that. So people who have been through that, they're sitting on the other end of this and they're like nodding their head. They're like, yeah. People who haven't been through it, if you have a friend or a loved one who's going through it, has gone through it, may go through it in the future, have your antenna up for that because it is an incredibly debilitating experience. And having the support of loved ones around you to come and prop you up like your mother did for you is just everything. It's huge. And I think as human beings, a lot of times we make this mistake. I raise my hand. I've done it over and over again of thinking that the feeling in the present moment is permanent.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
When it's not.
It's not.
Everything changes. This too shall pass. That's why, I use this line over and over again on the show, one foot in front of the other. You don't know what's going to come next, but you got to get up and you got to move and you got to create that forward momentum. And that's exactly what you did in this story. And then that call from New York came and now you're off to the races again.
Yeah. And the most beautiful part of that, Anthony, is actually we're talking about staff. We're talking about people underneath you that collaborate with you, work for you, however people want to describe it. I think some of these kids need a lot of that too. And for those people that went through it like me, and that finally had that moment where their mentality completely turned around and they started hitting life with that positivity and speaking in existence what they want and have the willpower to go and get it. These needs to be transferred. These needs to be transferred to other people and needs to be open, and make people see because sometimes we realize that the life that we live is different than other people's life. And some of the kids that work for me, work for us, they live day by day, and some of them might be in the same scenario in different situation, but they live paycheck to paycheck, and they don't know how to make it to the end of the month, and this and that, and sharing a story of, hey, Rocky Balboa said it the same in an interview a while ago. It's not about how many times you get knocked out. How many times do you get up? How much can you take, but still go for it? I think that's
Do
the
you
beauty of it.
feel like almost a responsibility then to take some of the lessons that have been handed to you and the help that's been given to you and pass that along to your employees?
150%. If I don't do that, I will not be a good leader. If I can only teach them how to serve or at a bottle of wine, and I cannot teach them how to go through life, then I'm not a good leader. It's more than work. You taking on a responsibility of hiring somebody, and truth to be told, Anthony, there are some people that you develop better relationship with than others. But every time I get a call from somebody that needs help, and whether it is a server, whether it is some people in my management team, I'm always there. I need to be there. I have a responsibility to do so. I'm not just here delivering a job for somebody. As I don't expect my staff to just deliver a service to somebody at the table. And I was incredibly blessed to follow and join a company where the founder of the company feels exactly the same way. I'm not going to go to details, but in our company, we went through times that we had to bail people out of jail. We had to lend them money because their family here and there were in needs. Um, that's what I think it's human to do, kind to do, and important.
I'm glad that you mentioned those two stories, even though we don't need the detail, but we get it. Like there were people in need; they were in jail; they needed some help. There was debt. You made loans because a lot of times people talk about the culture of their company and maybe their mission statement. And for a lot of people, when they hear that, especially if they haven't worked somewhere where that culture is something very positive and it's a strong foundation, they kind of roll their eyes at it. Like, what does that mean? Good culture. It sounds like a buzzword everybody uses.
Yeah,
But when you mention a couple of those examples, I think that really helps to illustrate for people like how much you really care about the folks that you work with.
it is. It is important. It is extremely important. And I guess that's why our company has the retention that it has.
Mm.
Alberto says it a lot too, is one of his lines. It's Lombardi Family Concepts. There is the word family there for a reason. We want our staff to feel like family. We want our guests to feel like family. And so it's not a transaction. It's something that has a lot more than that. You gotta have natural feelings.
Putting all humility aside, Danilo, what is your superpower?
Um, I don't know. I think positivity. If I gotta, if I gotta say one thing, I wake up happy every morning, Anthony, because I'm blessed. I'm alive, of course. But I get to do a job that I absolutely adore. Um, Going to work energizes me. Going to meetings, go to meet people. You never know what you're gonna find on the streets. You might walk into a restaurant today and you meet the president of Mexico, or you meeting Messi, you meeting a football player, or today, this afternoon at lunch, I walked through one of our restaurants and there was this super sweet lady and she was dining by herself. So I stopped by the table. I said, "Hey, how you doing? How's your meal? Is the team treating you well?" She's like, "Oh my God, I love the manager here. They treat me so good." And then she's like, "Are you Italian?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, my family's Italian. Where you from?" "My daughter lives here and they live in Tuscany." She just wanted to talk,
Yeah.
right? She just wanted to talk. And I was there and I listened and it was fun. And now I know so much more about her family.
Yeah. You guys
But
filled a nice part of each other's day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's be positive of everything that life tries to throw at you, and always have the mentality of the glass is always half full.
Do you have anything that you do to help kick off your day in a positive way? Any rituals or habits, routines?
Espresso.
How did I know that was coming?
No,
From my Italian friend, I would expect nothing less.
I try to work out at least 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And the workout to me is important because I do it extremely early in the morning, about 5 a.m. And it's one of the only times during the day that I'm by myself. And so that gives me the opportunity to be clear-minded with myself, kind of plan what I need to do, what I have to do. Then, going to the gym to me, yes, is workout and staying healthy and everything else, but I do love the aspect of sauna and steam rooms.
Mm.
Again, it's another 15 or 20 minutes where you got no phone, there is no ringers, there is no beeper, and you are in a room with nobody because you can't see them because there's fog. And you're just there and you just relax and you focus. That really helps me to kick my day off in a different way.
I love a good steam room, followed up
Yeah.
by a nice cold shower. And like now, all of a sudden, my body is just
Or a plunge. That's the best.
you are more hardcore than I am. The plunge is a
Uh,
little tough for me, but I can appreciate the
I
value in it.
I feel like you get shocked with energy when you get out of there.
Yeah.
It's just everything is alive.
How about a resource that you might recommend to our listeners? A book, a podcast, a course that you've taken, something that was helpful for you?
Well, for people that start going into the wine business, I think the Wine Bible by Karen Miller is probably one of the simplest book that really helps you to understand wine region and maps and gives you some of like the first grounds on wine. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I also have other interests besides hospitality. I like real estate a lot. I listen to Grant Cardone a lot. I like not only suggestions about the industry back in the days, but also a lot of his motivational stuff. The guys from 11 Medicine, as you mentioned, Will. I listen to his podcasts a lot. Read a couple of his books. I think they're inspirational. Um, yeah, that's pretty
That's a good
much it.
list. That's a good
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
How, if at
Thank you.
all, are you using AI in your work?
So on the marketing standpoint, we are definitely seeing the majority of AI work being implemented. Whether it is with posts or creation of posts or logos or anything like that. And then it's, I think, one of the easiest way to do it. Also in the designs of our restaurant, I see AI implemented a lot. Obviously, we come up with ideas with photos, sketches, and then we use a couple of programs with AI to start giving us a little bit of a first shot of what we think the restaurant will look like or what the interior will look like. Obviously, we hand that over to interior designers and they take it from there. The latest one that we started is actually in our phone systems. We have a couple of locations that do not do lunch, they only do dinner. And we felt that we were losing some of those phone calls because nobody was in the restaurant to pick them up. And so what happened in the past is some people call, they leave a message, and the manager comes in at 2 or 3 or whatever that might be, and they got to go through that answer machine and, scramble back up to call all these people back. We felt that we lost a little bit of business because of that, because managers were not super efficient on getting back to people. So we started adding these elements of AI in these restaurants, where they pick up the call themselves, and they are able to make reservations through links in other applications. And in some of these locations, we actually saw a 17% growth on reservations.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
significant.
yeah.
Danilo, I think I've just got one more question for you, but before I ask it, I want to do two things. First of all, everyone listening, pause for just a second. Go to that podcast app that you're using right now. Go ahead and hit the follow or subscribe button. We've had a wonderful conversation today with Danilo Di Nardo from Lombardi Family Concepts, and I want you to continue to get more wonderful interviews like this in your feed. And if you've got an extra second, you can leave us a review or a comment. It helps other people find us. I want to let people know the best way to get in touch with you or Lombardi or follow your story. And what would that be?
Well, obviously through our website, lombardifamilyconcept.com, or on Instagram, it'll be fairly easy, or Facebook, same thing, lombardifamilyconcept.com. For those that want to get in touch directly with me, Instagram probably will be the easiest way to do it. Danilo Di Nardo, number 83. And it's amazing how, again, it's another way of making incredible connection. We will love to hear from anybody that is in Dallas, wants to be in Dallas, travel in Dallas, wants to come see us or experience or chat, have an espresso, whatever. I think we're pretty open, and we're just so excited to meet new people, because you never know what's going to come out of it.
Love it. So last question for you, Danilo. You and I reconnect a year from now and you're celebrating one thing. Really excited. What's that one thing you're celebrating 1 year from now?
Another year of beautiful growth for my daughters.
I love that you went personal. How old are your
Well,
daughters?
so I have Isabella, she's the oldest, she's 8. Juliana, she's 6. And Sienna, it's 4. And my most incredible wife has been with me through thick and thin for 19 years. Um, Anthony, I think, we talk about business, we talk about experience. But I think at the end of the day, all we do it for family. And one time I was talking to this older guy actually, and he said, your time is over. Everything you're building right now is not for you; it's for your children. Your life is halfway done. So whatever you do, make sure that you build it for them. And I think it's very true. All we do as parents are little things that are going to be making their life easier, uh, make a better opportunity, give them better opportunity. So if I work this hard, as much as I love my job and what I do and what we're building, if I work this hard, it's only to give my family a better future. And so if there is one wish that I have is to really achieve that.
Danilo Di Nardo from Lombardi Family Concepts, I want to be the first to thank you for sharing both your time and your story with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here with you today. Thank you so much.
Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of the Inspired Stories podcast. Thanks for learning with us today.